मणिपुर उन 5 राज्यों में शुमार है जहां हाल के दिनों में विधानसभा चुनाव हो रहे हैं। मणिपुर में चुनाव 2 चरणों में है। पहले चरण में 28 फरवरी और दूसरे चरण में 5 मार्च को वोटिंग होगी। मणिपुर विधानसभा में विधानसभा की 60 सीटें हैं और यहां बीजेपी की सरकार है। मणिपुर विधानसभा का कार्यकाल 19 मार्च 2022 को खत्म हो रहा है। मणिपुर में बीजेपी और कांग्रेस के बड़े दावों के साथ साथ छोटे दल अपना दमखम दिखा रहे हैं। क्या इस बार कांग्रेस बनाएगी सरकार? देखते हैं ये।
मणिपुर विधानसभा चुनाव कांग्रेस के लिए काफी अहम है। पार्टी के लिए ये चुनाव सिर्फ मणिपुर चुनाव में हार जीत तक सीमित नहीं है, बल्कि पूरे पूर्वोत्तर के लिए महत्वपूर्ण है, क्योंकि मणिपुर चुनाव का असर साल 2023 में होने वाले पूर्वोत्तर के दूसरे राज्यों के विधानसभा चुनाव पर भी पड़ेगा। पूर्वोत्तर कभी कांग्रेस का गढ़ हुआ करता था। साल 2015 में पूर्वोत्तर में 8 में से 5 राज्यों में कांग्रेस की सरकार थी, लेकिन पिछले 7 सालों में एक के बाद एक कांग्रेस सभी राज्य बीजेपी और उसके सहयोगियों से हार गई। इस वक्त पार्टी सिर्फ असम में मुख्य विपक्षी दल की भूमिका में है। मणिपुर में कांग्रेस लगातार 15 साल तक सत्ता में रही है। 2017 के विधानसभा चुनाव में भी पार्टी 28 सीटें जीतकर सबसे बड़ी पार्टी बनकर उभरी थी, लेकिन कांग्रेस सरकार नहीं बना पाई और बीजेपी ने क्षेत्रीय दल नागा पीपुल्स फ्रंट, नेशनल पीपुल्स पार्टी और लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी के साथ सरकार बनाई। पिछले 5 साल में कांग्रेस के 13 विधायक पार्टी का हाथ छोड़कर बीजेपी में शामिल हो गए हैं। पूर्वोत्तर के दूसरे राज्यों में भी ये सिलसिला जारी है। मेघालय में पार्टी के कई विधायक तृणमूल कांग्रेस में शामिल हुए हैं। असम में भी कई विधायकों ने कांग्रेस से इस्तीफा देकर बीजेपी का कमल थामा है। ऐसे में मणिपुर विधानसभा चुनाव कांग्रेस के लिए काफी अहम हो जाते हैं। कांग्रेस इस बार लेफ्ट और जद एस के साथ मिलकर मणिपुर प्रोग्रेसिव सेक्युलर अलायंस में चुनाव लड़ रही है। कांग्रेस के एक वरिष्ठ नेता ने कहा कि सेक्युलर अलायंस के बाद इस बार के चुनाव में कांग्रेस काफी मजबूत हुई है। इस सब के बावजूद कांग्रेस के सामने सबसे बड़ी चुनौती चेहरे की है। पार्टी के पास कोई ऐसा युवा चेहरा नहीं है जिसकी पूरे प्रदेश में पहचान हो। यही वजह है कि पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री इवोबी सिंह को पार्टी ने एक बार फिर चुनाव मैदान में उतारा है। हालांकि पार्टी नेता मानते हैं कि प्रदेश में नया नेतृत्व विकसित करना होगा। तृणमूल कांग्रेस भी इस बार पूरी शिद्दत के साथ चुनाव में अपनी किस्मत आजमा रही है। तृणमूल कांग्रेस 2017 में भी 16 सीट पर चुनाव लड़ी थी और 1 सीट जीती थी, लेकिन उस वक्त पार्टी इतनी आक्रामक नहीं थी। पश्चिम बंगाल में लगातार तीसरी बार जीतने के बाद तृणमूल अपना दायरा बढ़ा रही है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद कांग्रेस आज की तारीख में काफी मजबूत है और बीजेपी ये भाग चुकी है। इसलिए मणिपुर में अमित शाह ने चुनाव प्रचार की कमान संभाली है, लेकिन राहुल गांधी की लोकप्रियता मणिपुर में कांग्रेस को जीत की तरफ ले जा रही है। डीवी लाइव की रिपोर्ट।
Good day, folks. Much talked about integration of the Northeast and this government saying we've done so much for the Northeast. But here's the strange enough how much we've done for the Northeast or Manipur finds itself. I looked all the first phase was yesterday. I looked at all the newspapers and found that they were on the 8th or 9th page and a small height. Maybe it's the first phase. 2 things critically here to remember. A lot of people are saying it's going to BJP's. This is one state BJP out of, again, the same way it did this last time by purchasing MLAs is going to be able to form the government. We got to remember this time. You can see from on top, election details, what's happening, women's market. You can see Rahul Gandhi has a huge following, women's following. The other thing, I can tell you that there is a feeling of cultural assault in the Northeast, and there is a pushback. The other thing is, the women actually do love Rahul Gandhi. I mean, Amit Shah and Modi and what's his name, Sambit Patra just cut no ice. And there's really been no vikas. And again, it seems to be this government using terrorists and separatists to run this campaign. So it was surprising. It's a 78% vote in first phase, barring stray incidents, polling peaceful, but it's below what's happened in the past. So it's to suggest that, hey, this could go either way. But there is a lot of what is happening on the ground because of the cultural assault. It looks like Congress may have an edge. And why Manipur is important is because of federalism and because of this cultural assault. And remember, RSS is coming up with to 100 years in 2025, and it wants to pass some obscene laws, whether it's to do with population control, targeted population control, change the constitution, make the center more strong, Hindu Rashtra, their form of history. It's not going to work. And RSS is what is chaffing. I think those RSS is, I was in talks with people from Arunachal and they just don't like what are the RSS trying to do. And why is here? I'm going to read this thing out quickly. Center and the Dravidian state. Tamil Nadu's development model is under threat from increasing centralization of powers in union, government erosion of policy autonomy. He says, soon after winning the assembly election, DMK chief Stalin wrote to his party cadres that his victory has given them a crown with thorns. The pandemic and the unprecedented fiscal burden must be his most immediate concern. There are, however, other long-term challenges, some of which are internal to the state and an outcome of its relatively inclusive development trajectory. The growing concentration of power in the union government and the erosion of policy autonomy aggravate this challenge. Tamil Nadu's ability to combine comparatively high levels of human development with economic dynamism can be attributed to the distinct political mobilization against caste-based inequalities in the state. And why I read this out is that this is what Tamil Nadu is fighting, and this is exactly what the Northeast is fighting. And then the other thing I found very amusing was this huge statehood advertisement. Every other advertisement which has run by a state controlled by the BJP has Prime Minister Modi, Nadda, Yogi. In this, there is nobody. Does it send a message? It absolutely does. And the troubles in the Northeast continue. Assam Meghalaya plan, give and take formula to solve border. And the biggest problem, folks, in the Northeast is this Sarna fellow. He thinks he controls the Northeast. Let's see, this is going to blow back really badly. So, democracy throttled, 2 BJP MLAs resigned from Tripura and Trappan. Unbecoming of Tripura, government to indulge in whataboutery SC toll. Ex-MLA says BJP will not return to power in Tripura. Don't defy us to harass journos, SC to Tripura. 2 Tripura MLAs resigned for BJP and Assembly may join Congress, which they did, folks. So this is going to fall apart. The Northeast will surely fall apart from this government because of this cultural assault and on their autonomy. Cheers.
I have already said about the organized violence, the manner the BJP government is involved with. They don't want peace by productive dialogue amongst the forces present in the state. And they want somehow that insecurity system should prevail in the state. And people should remain in panicky and vote for them. And they should remain in government. That is the attitude of the BJP government. So they believe in the organized violence. Right? They created danga, riots in many cities by creating communal violences. Similar is their approach to remain in power. They can go up to any extent. And in Manipur too, they are going up to the extreme extent to come to power.
So when the BJP comes to Manipur and the RSS comes to Manipur, they come with a sense of superiority. Prime Minister comes with the idea that he has a superior vision. He has a superior language. And he has the right to define India. And I mentioned in Parliament something that I did not like, that the Home Minister of India invited senior leaders from Manipur to his house and then made them take off his shoes, but kept his shoes on. One of the senior ministers in the Lok Sabha said, this is our culture. It is not my culture to invite someone to my house and humiliate them. It might be that minister's culture. It is not my culture. And I would like to tell the minister that it is also not Indian culture. Indian culture is to honor your guests when they come to your house. I want to help preserve your language. I want to help preserve your culture. I want to help preserve the harmony that is prevailing in Manipur.
So now a little bit on Manipur elections, the first phase. Now let's put it this way. The other factor that's going to play or is playing out there is the fact that a number of new parties that were earlier aligned with them, they've broken away, older parties. And second is that the people actually feel the election was stolen by the BJP. They didn't deserve it, just like in Goa. That's going to have a major impact. So what happened, right? Battle for money begins in Valley. Total seats that went up 38, SC/ST 9, total candidates 173, women candidates 15. So that's the important part. And do remember, last time Congress was the single largest party at 28. But here's the thing, right? Decision on AFSPA extension in Assam after Manipur polls. Hey, why not before? Because these guys still don't know if this is the lob they give you, right? As Manipur goes to the polls, BJP banks on change of the last 5 years. There has been no change, folks, from what I have on the ground. No party to get majority in Manipur, says Sangma. Probably true, but that's going to be a disaster. The doors are ajar in Imphal, with regional parties keeping their options open for post-poll alliances. The fate of Congress and BJP could hinge on these smaller yet formidable players. These includes basically the NPP and the NPF and the LJP. Then you have ultras backing Manipur, BJP says NDA partner, probably true. Rumbling grows within BJP over CM face. Just remember, everybody they have there essentially is Congress, and the party karyakartas in Manipur have been sidelined. They're upset, right? BJP promises shops for women in manifesto, but they don't have a fan following like Rahul Gandhi. They can't even manufacture one, right? Northeast will be the engine of country's growth, says Modi. He's been telling us that for 5 years. Where the hell has he been, right? Two-horse Congress and BJP race now has an emerging dark horse NPP. Rahul, Congress will preserve language, culture and harmony of Manipur. And this, so a speech will have a resonance. BJP, RSS come to Manipur with sense of superiority, says Rahul, and he's nailed them in his speech. And this is really, really reverberating, right? Tiny hill town captures Manipur's unusual poll scene, right? It says, so how do you like your dusty old school, asks Gokpu Chongloi, the block president of the Kuki students, right? Really funny. Manipur's next 25 years will be decided in this poll, says PM. He thinks he's here forever, right? That's delusional, right? Poll outcome will decide future of Manipur for 25 years. Need a tough leader to tackle difficult times. Jesus Christ. Youngest candidate in Manipur out on a mission. Polls not only for the rich. Absolutely. Nagas have NPF, Metis numbers, and now Kukis, a party of hope. And the lady out there is KPA cycle candidate Kimnyo Hakup Hinchgang. Manipur said to witness a multi-cornered poll battle. Decorated cop and poll fight has saving Manipur on her agenda. You really, really need to do that, folks. Get rid of the centralist thought process that only somebody else, and just let's just do away with this Aya Gaya Manipuri politicians, folks. Cheers.
नेशनल पीपल्स पार्टी और नेशनल पीपल्स फ्रंट ये तो हमारे साथ है, कह रहे हैं ये एक और बहुत बड़े आहत होने की बात है वहां के नागरिकों की। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इस चुनाव में एवरेज क्या है इसके बारे में आकलन तो मैं नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन ऐसा लगता है कि जो स्वाभाविक प्रवृत्ति है नागरिकों की, मतदाताओं की, वो बाहर आएगी और इन दो चीजों का जवाब तो निश्चित रूप से देंगे, बल्कि तीनों चीजों का जवाब देंगे कि एक तो उनका मैंडेट पीछे समय चोरी हुआ, उन्होंने जो सरकार चाही थी वो सरकार नहीं बना के आपने दूसरी सरकार पैसों के बल पे या दूसरे तरीकों से बना ली। दूसरा, विकास जो है पिछले 5 सालों में वापिस फिर पिछड़ा है, क्योंकि भारत में बहुत सारे क्षेत्र वैसे भी पिछड़े हैं। कोरोना की मार उस राज्य में भी बड़ी जबरदस्त पड़ी है, बेरोजगारी बढ़ी है और हमने वहां पे रोजगार के बहुत अवसर पैदा नहीं किए हैं। और दूसरा जो मिक्सअप है, कल्चरल मिक्सअप है शेष भारत के साथ, वो अभी भी एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है, हम सब के लिए है। उसमें हम सब शामिल हैं कि हम उन 7 राज्यों को मुख्य धारा में नहीं।
So 2025 is critical for the RSS because it's his 100th year and want to do all kinds of changes. For that, it's critical for them to have Modi win in 2024. Hence, UP becomes really critical. If that falls apart, 2024 falls apart. What is the other thing? They know that if UP goes, you got a problem. This most likely Bihar will go, then Haryana will go. But more importantly, and the other place which is really hurting them is Maharashtra and the MV. And they're after them, all guns blazing. Now that's a kind of a pushback that we have to see from now these 3 MVA MVA constituents to ensure that does not happen, right? You have ED unearths 200 crore plot in Mumbai tied to Malik's son. ED attaches Maharashtra minister's Tanapur land worth 7.6 crore. KCR calls on Thackeray and Pawar, changes the need of the hour. KCR, Uddhav, Pawar amid third form talk. No National Front sends Congress, Sena, NCP on KCR meeting. And please note, Congress, that Sena is fully for you and you've got to help, you've got to support them. IT department raids Sena leader as Maha Center Rao heats up. That's what I said. MVA leaders not to ask Nawab Malik to resign, rightly so. MVA protests Malik's arrests. BJP steps up resignation call. States muzzled by center shows degradation of politics. Is Uddhav is out there, all guns firing. And what they really need to come out again with is the Maratha and Maharashtrian pride, right? Day after raids on BMC corporators, premise Sena says will expose BJP's dirty dozen, and it's about time. And BJP, including that Kirti, whatever, Somaya, corrupt as hell. Faced with central agency probes, MVA government may hit back in BJP, and it's about time, folks. These guys get a reality check, and hopefully UP will set the ball rolling, just like what happened in Bihar and Tamil Nadu. Jai Hind.
The Live TV, सच सबसे आगे।
नमस्कार, मैं हूं इकबाल परवेज। द लाइव टीवी में आपका स्वागत है। हम अपने इस वीडियो में आपके लिए 2 बड़ी खबर लेकर आए हैं। एक खबर है भारत के पूर्वोत्तर राज्य से, जहां मिजोरम और आसाम की पुलिस आपस में ऐसी भिड़ी कि आसाम के 6 पुलिसकर्मियों की जान। पुलिस आपस में भिड़ गई और भिड़ने के बाद आसाम के 6 पुलिसकर्मी शहीद हो गए। जी हाँ, और वो भी बात यह है कि अभी पूर्वोत्तर राज्य से ही शनिवार को ही अमित शाह, जो देश के गृह मंत्री हैं, वो वहाँ से वापस आए हैं और इनसे कहा गया था कि सीमा विवाद को सुलझाइए, लेकिन इन्होंने सुलझाया नहीं। वैसे भी हम सब जानते हैं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जो सरकार है वो भाई को भाई से लड़ा देती देती है, हिंदू को मुसलमान से लड़ा देती है, यहाँ तक कि अब 2 राज्यों को भी उसने लड़ा दिया है। मतलब उनके होते हुए 2 राज्य में ऐसा सीमा विवाद जैसे मान लो कि 2 देशों के बीच में घमासान छिड़ गया हो, सीमा को लेकर जिस तरह से हिंदुस्तान और पाकिस्तान में छिड़ा हुआ रहता है। साथियों, इस झड़प के बाद सीआरपीएफ की जो है सो 2 अतिरिक्त टुकड़ी वहां पर तैनात की गई है, लेकिन जिस तरह से ये खूनी खेल हुआ है